I was watching Thor Love and Thunder over streaming for the first time, and I thought to myself, oh, those tentative hand grabs are really cute. I really like them. Only to then realize it was not the hand grabs of Love and Thunder I was thinking about. Look, I think I need to talk about Miraculous. I think if I don't talk about Miraculous, I will go insane. So that's what this video is, an excuse for me to talk about Miraculous. Unfortunately, the only thing I can find myself talking about is silly criticisms brought against Miraculous by the fandom, and why I hate those criticisms so much. This is going to be rough, and I don't know why my mind hates me like this. I want to try and quantify what I am trying to present in this video, because talking about media when complaining about how others think about it is tough and even kind of futile. But what I want to push against is the criticism formed and created by fandom. I am not trying to talk about fan fiction, fan art, ships, or even headcanons, but criticism. Criticism can somewhat delve into fan theory, but only if the fan theory is looked at as less a fun theory on what happens in the story, a la headcanons, and is instead viewed as what actually happens in the story. See any of the Dark Zelda theories or Jacob Geller's discussion of them. As readings of the text, most of these theories go out of their way to misunderstand the text or ignore huge portions of the text. Like the Dark Zelda timelines ignore basically the whole ending of any Zelda game.
To brand any of these games as the darkest Zelda is to miss the forest for the trees, focus on the storytelling methods without considering what the stories themselves are doing with them.
Criticism, particularly criticism in fandom, often looks closer or links to other fandom-made materials, like fanfic or fan theory, but is instead presented as an understanding of the work instead of a person enjoying or transforming the work. A good example of poor criticism is NC's poor criticism of The Wall, or from Pillar of Garbage's deconstruction of the poor criticism done by the Critical Drinker of E-Hulk, the poor criticism being done by Critical Drinker, and the criticism and good criticism of Critical Drinker being done by Pillar of Garbage. It is worth making an aside here, though, that I am not talking about, nor should this be applied to queer fandom. This is not a video on how to prove to people that they should stop interpreting a character as queer. If you walk away with that conclusion, I am sorry, I have failed to convey that across. Or you are someone I could not convince otherwise, no matter what I did, and therefore I would like you to stop watching this video now. I also want to note that I am not trying to say that there is only one reading of the text, and it is mine. I'm not trying to say that. I am very smart, and I should honestly be the only reading of the text that exists, but alas, I am actually quite dumb, and most of my readings are horribly idiotic, because I like to use adverbs. But at least my readings are based on, 1, the text, and 2, my emotional state / history. And I am not afraid to state that. The problem I want to address is twofold. 1, the more common problem that criticism is often presented as the one true reading, thus creating a problem, and 2, that criticism in itself is either not supported by the text, or the author of the criticism avoids going into their personal opinions in an effort to try and present their reading as factual. Both of these problems compile onto each other and give a sort of bad criticism or understanding of the text, in which it is also presented as the only way you can read or understand the text. In this video, I attempt a correction by providing a reason why certain criticism, largely agreed on by the fandom, fails to properly engage with the text of Miraculous. I am using the Miraculous fandom because 1, Miraculous is killing me slowly every second I fail to talk about it. And 2, it seems to me that shows meant for a more female demographic, particularly if the demographic is also for a younger age and female, is more likely to be subject to criticism not only from outside of the fandom, but from within its fandom. So the second reason is the more truthful to the reason I feel justified in making such a video. See, because it would be easier to just talk about American Psycho or Fight Club or 1984, because this is where most people have discussed this interesting difference between fan of the text and misinterpreting the text. Or I could even talk about the latest woke movie that the far-right adjacent snobs are trying to condemn. However, in both stances, I found that both are largely well covered, and more importantly, often veer into an area where most people are comfortable enough to say that those people are clearly wrong. I want to go into an area that is more controversial to touch on, as it is an area where the audience most likely to listen to me will start off disagreeing with me, because they're probably in the fandom, because it is important to show that these poor discussions of media are not all the way over there on the right, but are right next to us and within us. Truthfully, I can really only think of 2 or 3 creators who really go into this area of trying to deconstruct the way fandom thinks about media. And those are Princess Weeks, Sarah Zed, Lady Emily. And that really depends on how much homunculization happened between Emily and Zed in your headcanon. I want to try avoiding examples of bad criticism, like would normally be done in a video like this, and instead present my own readings of the text with consideration to other readings as an example, as how to try and do this properly. But I am not sure I will succeed at that goal. It is to avoid spoilers for the current and most recent season, Season 5, but I will have to at least hint to events by saying something like, as seen in Season 5, or something like that. Consider yourself warned. And to start with, I would like to defend Master Fu, the mentor figure in Miraculous, leading to a defense against criticism against the love square, and finally, analysis and apologia for Marinette and Adrien as characters. I want to start with Master Fu, since as he is the reason we get the love square, and then the analysis of Marinette and Adrien are necessary in some amount for understanding the love square, and so defending against criticism against them follows naturally.
Hello, Ladybug.
Master Fu can be seen as foolish, poor, and a bad mentor by people. Now, without a doubt, Master Fu has made mistakes, but that was largely part of the point of his character. He is a very human mentor character. He is not in any way meant to be the wise sage, nor is he the drug and screw-up type mentor. He has his faults, his flaws, and a past full of mistakes. But the mistakes the fandom accuses him of often seem to look past these issues. 2 of the major complaints I have seen about him are that 1, he chooses a very shaky and poor way of picking the holders. 2, he emphasizes the importance of Marinette and Adrien keeping their secret identities. There is a third reason that I will go into, but these 2 things are not something that Master Fu really did wrong, at least according to the text. For starters, there is a lot unknown about Master Fu's selection process, so let's go by what we know about it. 1, he had little time to prepare a proper holder. 2, he knew that someone was going to be using the Moth Miraculous soon, so he needed the Ladybug and Black Cat Miraculous. 3, it could not be him who used the Miraculous. Considering these qualifications, Master Fu adds 1 more qualification to all of this. If he is going to give a Miraculous to someone, it must be someone who will not misuse it.
Do you think they'll be up to it, Master?
I only got it wrong once. It will never happen again.
Now, here is where questions are raised against Master Fu's methods, because we don't know about it. I.e., we don't know his surveillance methods. What we know is that he poses as an old man in need of help. The assumption made by the fandom is that he would give the Miraculous to the first person who helped him when he was in need. I do not think that is quite the case that the show is trying to argue. It seems like he was trying to find someone who would help him, even when it inconvenienced them. I say that because he targeted Adrien when he was clearly having a conversation with someone else and was trying to get away from the people he was talking to. Thus, a complex is formed by him needing aid here. Any one of the three people involved here could have helped Mr. Fu. Natalie, Gorilla, or Adrien. But if Adrien goes to help him, he will not be able to get away or really argue his case to Gorilla or Natalie. If Gorilla or Natalie goes to help him, Adrien gets away. Master Fu made a situation where he needs help from someone who will be inconvenienced by helping him. The only person in this situation who would do such a thing was Adrien. Marinette's situation was stranger in that she was more random, but still the situation had the same effect. Master Fu needed help in the middle of a crosswalk, meaning someone would have to stop crossing, take the time to get him to safety, and then make sure he was okay. This means the person doing it would probably be late for whatever it is they were trying to get to, because you are going across a crosswalk during a business day or a school day. Or, if they were not graceful, would probably lose something in the process, like Marinette does. See, what Master Fu wanted was someone he could quickly assign the Miraculous to, who would try to stop Hawkmoth without much guidance, because he does not have the time to teach them everything. Not revealing himself later, or keeping himself a secret from Chat Noir and Ladybug, is a little lacking on explanation after Origins, but in general, he is very much not a hover mentor. So maybe he wanted to give them space, or really only appear when they needed help. There is less to this, and it is an issue, but it is one explained by his character's history and trauma, with his mentors being more in his face. And two, this issue feels more to me like a plot holding than an actual issue. Part of the criticism against Master Fu's methods of selecting a Miraculous holder is that he just got lucky. And yeah, he did. That is kind of one of the things of the show. Luck, fate, is an important part of Miraculous. Further, he did not just get lucky, but he put his choice up to luck. He planned it out as quickly and as best as he could, and put the rest up to fate. It's kind of similar to how Ladybug uses her plans. Secondly, people do not seem to like the instance of him telling Ladybug and Cat Noir to keep their identity a secret. And for a while, I would have agreed with them, then,
Little kitty on a roof, all alone without his lady.
And that just proved his point, that at least until Hawkmoth is defeated, they have to keep their identities a secret from one another. It also seems unfair to think that he could predict how much pain keeping their identities a secret would cause the pair of fated lovers, and in fairness, he could not have known, because part of the problem was him losing his guardianship before season 4. Something he planned for, but did not want to happen, or at least didn't want to happen at the time it did. Another argument that is way more clearly unfair is how Master Fu does not teach the other powers of the Miraculous to Marinette and Adrien, and the problem is the text directly addresses this issue. Master Fu does not know how these powers work, and did not want to jump to using them until absolutely necessary, because he doesn't know how they work. He was really not even willing to accept help from Ladybug on this, but that just points to one of his flaws as a person, that being that he is used to being self-sufficient and self-reliant, and does not readily seek the help of others. In summary, Master Fu is a very hands-off to an almost worrying degree, likes to keep things secret for maybe too long, and does not always have the foresight he needs for the issues that can arise. This is what makes him a good character, though. He is flawed, and these flaws make him more interesting and fun to root for. Further, these flaws make sense to occur from his backstory, as Miraculous has a common use of taking a character's strengths and turning them into flaws. Master Fu is used to being self-reliant because he was often on his own. He is used to keeping secrets because it was absolutely necessary for him to do so because of the constant danger he was in. He is not super knowledgeable because he did not finish his training due to the poor traditionalism involved in the training, and he looks at this traditionalism as flawed, thus doesn't follow it. It seems poor to look at the slight mistakes he made in both these issues of choosing and keeping the secrets of the identities of Ladybug and Chat Noir as a reason for him to be a poor character or a bad character. Now on to the consequences of his actions. He gave the Miraculous to two fated lovers, Marinette, who becomes Ladybug, and Adrien, who becomes Chat Noir. Marinette loves Adrien, and Chat Noir loves Ladybug. This creates
Place to hide. I'll cover you.
So the love square is what the Miraculous Fandom calls the mess that was created when Master Fu gave Marinette the Ladybug Miraculous, giving her her powers and turning her into Ladybug, and giving Adrien the Black Cat Miraculous and giving him powers, and he became Chat Noir, Cat Noir, depending on how French you are. The way it works is that Marinette loves Adrien, but Adrien is oblivious to this, and Marinette is too clumsy and insecure to state her love. Shipping Marinette and Adrien is called Adriennette. Adrien does not clearly reciprocate feelings towards Marinette, partially because he is oblivious, and also because he loves Ladybug. Whenever he is around Ladybug, interactions between Adrien and Ladybug become flustered and dangerous, as they are both likely to give away their identities. This ship is called Ladrien, Ladybug, and Adrien. Adrien's love for Ladybug started when he first got to know her. He claims it was when he first saw her, the overly romantic twit. He's great. As a result, he constantly flirts and tries to get a relationship forming between Ladybug and himself as Chat Noir. Ladybug is either oblivious because she does not have a high enough self-esteem to think someone would shamelessly flirt with her because they liked her, and because Cat Noir comes across as a joker or insincere.
Lady, have I ever told you turn my world upside down?
Oh, you're quite the jokester, aren't you?
This eventually changes to Ladybug trusting Chat Noir as a reliable partner she respects but cannot form a relationship with because she loves Adrien and feels it would be unprofessional, dangerous to date her partner. This ship is called Lady Noir, Ladybug and Chat Noir.
Aren't you glad you finally came?
Listen, I don't want to play around with your feelings. It would be the same as lying to you.
Marinette confirms her feelings of Chat Noir being a shameless flirt when they first meet, and he instantly starts flirting with Marinette. She kind of taunts him behind his back for this too. Both do not really think of each other as more than acquaintances. Chat Noir eventually coming to see Marinette as someone nice to hang out with after getting rejected by Ladybug again and again and again. And Marinette finds some comfort when a plan to get Adriennette fails, or when she needs to work on a plan, so she confides in Chat Noir. This ship is called Mary Chat, Marinette and Chat Noir. It is necessary to have a firm understanding on the workings of the love square to understand why it is such a good mechanism in the show. This, despite the complaint that the love square is too burdensome and should be gotten rid of, and too many fans depend on it, which is some criticism I have heard, but I will be honest, I have seen these criticisms, but I do not really know how common they are. Often when I've seen posts conveying stuff or dislike towards the romance in Miraculous, or the love square, or something along those grounds, it normally doesn't have as much attention as some of the other complaints I've mentioned. Plus, I think the criticism is very funny, on account to how close it is to getting it right. Because they are right, the love square is awful. For the characters, at least. They suffer because of it. Writing-wise, it rocks. The love square exists because of the flaws in our main leads, and the more the characters progress, the less effect the love square has. It is worth noting that the two leads are very much made using the want versus need dynamic, as one would see in a Disney movie. They both often want something but need something else before their want, or instead of their want.
Live off nothing but fruits, and we'll have a little pet hamster, and we'll name it.
Adrien Agreste has a problem of not knowing how to take no for a permanent answer, and for recognizing when someone truly loves him, or is showing love for him in a proper way.
Adrian's problem is that he doesn't realize his feelings for Marinette are love.
This problem can be seen in his relationship with his father, Kagami, and Marinette. All three of these people do truly love Adrien, yes, even his father, but they express and show their love in different ways. Gabriel is the easiest to explain, so him first. Gabriel loves his son as his son, a reminder of his wife, and a key business asset. In his best moments, it's in that order, or even without thinking of him as an asset at all. It is possible that he loved him more as his son and more as a father should when his wife was alive, but things have changed since then. And it is hard to tell which he is now, but he has his moments, I guess. Largely the way Gabriel shows his love is through protection, or overprotection rather. Nothing harmful can happen to his son, so he keeps his son away from everything except for modeling events and friends that Gabriel has approved. However, even Gabriel does eventually balk at this, recognizing that his son does have to spend some time in the world and allows Adrien to go to school. There might have been some benefits to Gabriel, though, even in that act. In all, Gabriel's love is selfish. It is always about him first, him second, and him last. He wants his wife back because he wants it. Actually, it could be because he thinks his wife is far more qualified for it. He wants his son safe because he wants it. His desire triumphs over all other desires. This selfishness is of importance when considering Adrien, because it is a key part to Adrien's own flaws and his inability to back down or consider his own selfishness in desiring a relationship with Ladybug after she has already turned him down. It is overcoming his own selfish wants that Adrien can start to look more carefully at the love others show him instead of thinking about the love he shows towards others. There is a caveat here though. Adrien's stubbornness and selfish desires are not all bad in that they can push him past obstacles he otherwise would not be able to push past. This is a common thing with Miraculous, like I said earlier. Just because one thing is a flaw in one light does not mean it is not a positive in another. For example, this stubbornness could be useful if Marinette is too shy to admit her feelings to Adrien. Kagami is more difficult to discuss. She does have her own selfish wants regarding Adrien, but those are largely positive or helpful for Adrien. Adrien's relationship with Kagami from friend to romantic potential changes because of Kagami's advice to Adrien, a crucial piece of advice he never seems to learn.
Adrien, the biggest mistake a fencer can make isn't choosing the wrong technique. It's choosing the wrong target. Change targets.
Adrien does not really follow this advice well. Kagami also wants to see Adrien become who he can truly be. If Gabriel focuses on Adrien in the past, Kagami focuses on Adrien in the future. It hurts her that the Adrien she loves is not the Adrien she wants, and does not seem capable of being that at this time. The result is that Kagami pushes Adrien at the best and does kind of boss him around at the worst. She is sensible enough, though, to realize that the problem is her, and that it is causing Adrien to not love her romantically, if he ever did. And this is more of my reading here. This is all more of my reading here. So, eventually Kagami leaves him. Despite her own faults, Kagami also leaves because of Adrien. He is unable to change targets, and Kagami begins to realize before Adrien does that if he were to change targets, she may not be the other target he chooses. Marinette truly loves Adrien. This is not to say that Marinette is unselfish in her love. I don't want to imply that. But if we stick with the time periods of Adrien, with Kagami loving what Adrien can become, and Gabriel loving what Adrien was, Marinette loves Adrien for being Adrien now. Marinette does not care about the superficials, Adrien that models. She likes the modeling, though. It lets her see Adrien everywhere. Or the rich Adrien who has everything. She cares about the kind, quiet, and considerate Adrien. She wants to help him stand up against his father, like Kagami, but she wants to help him do so, not make him do all of it, or force him to stand up for himself, but to encourage him and stand by him. Meanwhile, Ladybug is Marinette with more confidence, a side of Marinette Adrien rarely sees or often can fail to see, even acknowledging the similarities between her and Ladybug, but not realizing that she is who he loves.
It was our turn to help you. You're our everyday Ladybug. Have a good evening, Super Marinette.
Ladybug does also provide some amount of achievements and goals for Adrien to follow to give him a chance to really try to explore himself, to understand who he is. Unfortunately, Adrien does not do this. Instead, he stays stuck on Ladybug and never considers how she feels about him, constantly asking for more from a relationship she is not willing to push to that point. This only leads to pain.
I can't be in love with you, Cat Noir. You know that.
Yeah, I get it. But it still hurts.
It is worth pointing out that while Adrien/Cat Noir can be pushy or stubborn, this is not to say he is a predator. He is more just ever the optimist, constantly flirting in a charming sort of way, i.e. he'll say stuff like, "You'll look nice unprompted, you are so cool," he'll just tell off little puns, he'll give flowers, stuff like that. Marinette/Ladybug does not hate him or even hate him treating her this way, but wishes he was not trying to form a romantic relationship when she does not want one.
Ready, m'lady. Do you mind me calling you m'lady?
No, that's okay. It's not that complicated, you know. If I tell you something annoying, just stop doing it.
Also, Kagami is forceful, but not overly mean.
Free to live happily ever after in a beautiful house, have 2 kids, no 3. And a dog! Maybe a cat. Nah, forget the cat. A hamster. I love hamsters!
So, Marinette is more difficult to discuss because there is more about her that we know, especially compared to Adrien, making her more complex. She gets more center billing largely, because she is the lead of the two, and because Adrien spends most of his time locked away in the castle like the good little princess she is. Anyway, if Adrien's problems center on the determination of love felt towards him, then Marinette is the fear of losing love from another. Her fear centers from a lack of confidence in her own abilities and a feeling that she is not worthy or worth being loved by others. This probably happened as a result of her bullying from Chloe. I wrote this script long before Derision and am now re-uploading it. Still written before Derision, though, so suck it. This lack of confidence gets worse upon being given more responsibilities despite how well she might handle these new responsibilities, because of a fear of now failing those responsibilities and exposing herself as the imposter she sees herself to be. What she needs is to realize that she has proven herself time and time again to others that she tries to prove herself to, those being Master Fu, Alia, and Adrien. Season 5 Kagami, but I'm not going to go into that. Master Fu is the one who bestows Marinette with the power of the Ladybug Miraculous, leading her to become a Ladybug. The huge commitment and nerve-wracking responsibility of being the one who needs to capture the Akumas so they don't cause any more problems, and find out what to do with the often random lucky charms she is given. The thing is, she is really good at it though. Master Fu selected the perfect person for the job. However, part of her skill is because Marinette's tendency to overthink everything presented to her, and thus we get her flaw, which is useful in those circumstances. The responsibility put upon her, though, are often stressful and make her life more and more difficult, to a point where she becomes unsure if she can even have a normal life anymore. This tension gets worse and worse, and instead of performing well at being Ladybug, being the confidence boost Marinette needs, Ladybug instead becomes a source of more anxiety. Even though Master Fu is largely very forgiving and does not really mind or care about Marinette's mistakes, as he puts it,
Sorry, I'm so useless. If I hadn't forgotten to de-transform myself to go see Master Fu,
Ladybug, no.
Hawkmoth wouldn't have taken him hostage. He wouldn't have taken the miracle box. I'm the worst Ladybug that has ever existed.
Ladybug, you are the best miraculous holder I've ever met. You made mistakes, but who hasn't? What matters is to fix them.
Marinette, just like Adrien, fails to take this lesson to heart by applying it to herself. Instead, she tries to make as few mistakes or control the circumstance as much as possible so she makes no mistakes. It ties in a bit here, but some criticisms about Fu involves him giving more responsibilities to Marinette, thus overburdening her, and the favoritism he gives to Marinette. I think it's a little unfair to try and ask Master Fu to foresee everything that could happen in the future, and it is fair to say he did not want to dump all the responsibility on Marinette in one go. As to his methods, see my thoughts on Master Fu's flaws that I mentioned earlier. Are his methods good or not? It's really an issue of his character. His methods are meant to be questionable in many ways. His favoritism towards Marinette or Ladybug, though, is that she is exceptional at her job, first, and second, that she needs the help more. Adrien does not have a problem with being Chat Noir. Adrien's problems center more around being Adrien, while Marinette struggles with being Ladybug. Master Fu cannot really help Adrien be Adrien, but he can help Marinette be Ladybug, so he does. Alia is one of the few people Marinette can go to regularly to alleviate some of her stress. Because of her role to Marinette, Alia becomes key in understanding Marinette, and does cause some anxiety for Marinette in the future. Largely, Alia tries to improve Marinette's confidence so she can talk normally to Adrien and confess her feelings. Alia probably, better than most, sees the incredibleness of what Marinette is capable of. One of the only other people who possibly see how incredible Marinette is Master Fu and, well, Adrien. Even then, though, Alia was the first to realize how amazing Marinette is, and wants everyone to see how amazing her friend is. Despite this, Alia cannot provide confidence to Marinette, in part because Alia does not know how to do this. Alia has always been confident in herself and her own abilities, while she does not quite understand the difficulties Marinette goes through. She makes an effort to understand these things, though. In the end, though, Alia does not get how Marinette does not have any confidence in herself, or why she would think that Adrien would turn her down. Alia is the friend who looks at you and does not understand why you are afraid of things going badly when they won't.
You're the one who knitted the scarf. But he seems so happy about his dad. I don't want to spoil it for him.
Aw, Marinette. You're amazing, girl. You know that, right? And someday Adrien will figure it out too.
This scene is central to the relationship between Alia and Marinette. The scene is Alia trying to build up Marinette, and the problem is not that Adrien cannot see how incredible Marinette is. The scene intentionally misses that issue, in fact. Adrien can see, and does see how incredible Marinette is, but Marinette cannot see how incredible Marinette is. Adrien sees how awesome Marinette is in largely 2 episodes in Season 1. One is Gamers, and the other is Mr. Pigeon.
Wow, we won again thanks to you.
Yes we did.
We? That was practically all you. You're amazing, Marinette. I guess you wouldn't even need me. I'm so lame compared to you.
but Adrien starts seeing more of what Marinette is capable of as Cat Noir, largely because Marinette cannot talk to Adrien well at all. I know you're probably thinking that, wait, I thought you said the issue was Adrien not being able to realize he likes Marinette, or Marinette likes him. And the answer is that both are true, but we are talking about Marinette here. So her issue is that she cannot work up the confidence to talk to Adrien. She is terrified that Adrien will reject her, and that it is deserved, that she is not worthy of Adrien's love. This fear causes Marinette to get in her own way and self-sabotage, even the most obvious or easiest of times to express her feelings. All of these negative thoughts of herself often materialize as bad actions, as Marinette tries to express her feelings for Adrien, whether this be some light stalking, trying to cause a scenario in which she can talk to Adrien, or jealousy towards other girls Adrien spends time with due to a fear she has that Adrien will find the perfect and best girl for him and that person will never be her. The result of this is often very confusing for Adrien, and only goes to upset Marinette more and more as she acts more and more irrational.
For you, little Akuma! Time to de-evilize! Gotcha!
There are not many criticisms of the love square that I have seen, but the ones I have seen normally miss the point of why the love square forms, and even why love is so important to Miraculous. Love and how it changes, hurts, comforts, and provides hope to you is one of the central themes of Miraculous. The flaws of the characters are included for love to overcome, to change, and to cause them harm to each other, because that is often what happens. There's a lot more indirect criticism of the love square, though, as the flaws of the characters involved in the square exist as part of the square. Therefore, most criticisms of the characters, because of their flaws, are indirectly criticisms against the love square, too. Anyway, that's the best transition you're getting here. Let's get to the hard part. So, I said I would try to avoid giving examples of bad criticism and taking those examples apart. Well, this is where I failed at that attempt. I'm sorry, I didn't want to do it, but, then I remembered a really, really good example, and look, it's just that examples are a good tool for teaching, and not that tearing someone else's work down is good publicity and provides serotonin to the person doing it. Okay? Here is some criticism from a young man named Cyrus the Great, who presents an argument that Adriennette is bad and poorly written.
Why do you love Adrien so much? What did he ever do to you? To my knowledge, all he did was say sorry for the chewing gum, and he offered Marinette his umbrella, while looking cool. That's it. That's the entire reason why this ship existed. That's the entire reason why she loves him. This is not what you call love, dude. This is what you call lust. Marinette doesn't really love Adrien. She just loves him because she thinks he's handsome and really nice. No other reason. As far as my knowledge goes, she doesn't love him as a person. She just loves his image. That's not love, that is lust. If this is not lust, then I don't know what the hell this is.
Cyrus argues it is because there's no good reason for the relationship to start, that the only interaction between Marinette and Adrien is with the gum and the umbrella, and that these scenes do not convey love. The problem is there are many establishing moments of Adriennette in Season 1 past the umbrella and gum. Gamer's Mr. Pigeon comes to mind. But even then, there is a lot going on in the umbrella scene beyond just Adrien giving Marinette an umbrella. How this action shows Adrien's true heart to Marinette, shows him apologizing for a misunderstanding, shows that he would try to help protect her from Chloe and would rather get wet in the rain than let her get wet at all. All of this also being done with her being a stranger and it being way easier for him to just ignore her or mistreat her to stay in good graces with Chloe. Also, Cyrus kind of misses this scene.
First day of school and we already have 2 lovebirds.
Whatever. She's just a friend.
Oh,
friend.
The first time I saw you, I misjudged you. I thought you were conceited and superficial. But then I got to know you. I saw who you really were deep down. Someone sweet, sincere, and generous. Since then, there's something I've been wanting to tell you. But every time I try, it's like my brain suddenly freezes. But now, I think I'm ready.
The criticism of the text is not well founded. However, Cyrus gives a better reason for Adrianette being bad. That being that the umbrella scene just did not compel him forward in the relationship. For him, the scene did not make sense or give good reason for why this relationship should happen. And my argument against that is none. I don't have one. I mean, if you do not like the scene, you do not like the scene. It doesn't compel you, then that's fine. If you don't like the ship either, then you don't like the ship, honestly. In fact, Cyrus goes forward and provides a different and interesting reading that Chloe and Adrien make a better couple, in his view, than Marinette and Adrien. And that is, again, fine. It's one of his best readings in that video. This should help illustrate the problem with the current fandom of criticism. Being logical in-text readings must be used to explain emotional readings of the characters. Thus, the video Cyrus made centers on explaining why Miraculous is bad instead of why the writing in Miraculous does not convince or compel Cyrus to like the character of Marinette. These things are not the same. The text not compelling you does not make the text bad. The text not drawing a strong emotion or pulling you along for the way it wants to present its story does not make the text poorly made. It means you do not care for it. And that's it. And that's a valid reason to provide criticism. But you can't give a criticism of this thing is bad. You have to give a criticism of why I don't like the thing. Also, I did not want to use an example to begin with because I fear that people will find this video and they will go bully that person. Leave the guy alone. Just don't bully anybody. Just don't. If you feel like going to the video that you've decided you dislike because of anything I already said, and just being nasty, or perhaps going to the comments and being nasty, or anything like that, don't do that. Just don't do that. What this all leads to is that when the criticism is made, whether it is a loud and constant vent, a quick meme, or an H-bomber style takedown, this DNA of can be found in a lot of poor criticism of media. A need to come up with tools or rules explaining why a piece of media failed to engage you specifically, without considering the emotional reasons why they personally do not connect. What instead should be done is an attempt to understand from the viewer why they do not like the media, and how the media in their eyes failed to engage them, instead of an assumption that the media was bad. Here's a good example of criticism. iPatchWolf, in their recent discussion of Bleach, explains why they felt that the main character of Ichigo did not compel or interest them. Why the later arcs were not as good or something they enjoyed. And they do this without people are wrong for liking Bleach despite their problems with it. They don't go in saying that Bleach is horrible. Or
it's still bad! Woo! You lose again, Bleach fans! You lose again!
Okay, no, I'm just fucking around. Kinda. We'll get there. But before we do, I want to shout out DBZ Imran's video on Bleach, in which he addresses some of the flaws in my original video. This video being a way more positive take on Bleach than you're going to get here, and while I don't agree with a lot of the conclusions he comes to about the quality of Bleach's story, he's a cool guy, and you should totally follow him if you're into Bleach. And I hope by mentioning this, it's going to be taken as a sign of good faith that I don't consider my own viewpoint on Bleach as one of some omnipotent super being whose every whim reflects an indisputable truth. Rather, I am just an awkward little square person with an opinion as valid and flawed as the next humans, but one who just so happens to have repeatedly tumbled ass backwards up YouTube mountain by complete accident with a follower.
Or rather, when they do say Bleach is horrible, there's a very tongue-in-cheek aspect to it in which they are clearly joking, much like this title is joking when I say that the Miraculous Fandom is awful. The problem is that fandom's awful in general, guys. So, why does this happen? I think part of the reason for this is that ripping something apart is more cathartic, and the logical takedown is just the better way of doing that. The other part, though, is the emotional, open nature of why you like or dislike something is horrifying to say out loud. It is not enough to say you like it or you hate it and move on. You must give a piece of yourself to it. It's the hard question, the question of, do you hate or love this? And the easy answer is, well, it's because the thing's good or bad. The truthful answer is related more personally. Who you are and the reason you like or dislike can and should tell more about who you are, instead of hiding behind this penetrable shield of logic deducing a objective bad and good of media. This is not the conclusion. It's time for me to put my money where my mouth is. Okay. I say that the main reason I made this was because I wanted to show how this bad criticism is populating fandom, and in multiple mediums, besides those at the most politically relevant arenas. But that hides my reason one, the first one I gave, which is, I love this show. I love these characters. I want to defend them when I see criticism constantly lobbed at them. What really started me down this path of making this video is how much I relate to Marinette Dupang-chan, and the lack of people I could talk to about that because they had either not seen Miraculous, or if they had seen Miraculous, did not care for Marinette. And that kind of hurt. Like, it hurts being a bundle of lacking confidence and anxiety. And upon seeing a character who gets it, who feels that way, who messes up because they get so anxious and worried, they do something stupid like steal a phone or toss some expensive bolts into the grass to help find the one they already lost. And it truly hurts seeing people who just reject that as a reason for the character to be forgiven or to be considerate towards the character. It makes it feel like I cannot be accepted, even though the character is the one not being accepted. It sucks seeing the character who offers support and kindness towards Marinette as being selfish and unhelpful. I mean, I understand that Master Fu was largely unable to help, but that also was not entirely his fault. Anxiety does not make it easy for the person suffering from it to hear other praises or encouragement. And Master Fu wants so badly to help, but just doesn't know how to help. And Marinette doesn't know how he can help. I think I should add, you don't have to be this open with your emotions when it comes to explaining why you like a character. But you should not be so closed off as to need to justify your liking a character or liking a show or liking any sort of media from it being just good or bad, and deny any personal or personal taste or personal desires, and trying to mask that in this objectivity of the medium, this blanket statements of this is bad, this is poorly done writing, this is something that they should have never done. Thank you for watching or listening.